Hey, beautiful souls. Welcome back to the Bliss and Mischief podcast. I'm your host, Amy. And in today's episode, we're going to talk about something that will flip your whole manifestation game on its head. I know that everyone and their spiritual guru is out there telling you to stand in front of a mirror and repeat affirmations like, I am abundant, I am wealthy, I am successful, etc., until you believe it. But we're not going to do that today. Not exactly. Now, don't get me wrong. Affirmations have their place. But I'm about to show you a way more powerful tool that actually works with your brain instead of trying to convince it of something that it's calling bullshit on every single time you say it. We're talking about your RAS, your Reticular Activating System, and how asking the right questions can literally reprogram what you see, what you notice, and what shows up in your life. So grab your coffee, your kombucha, or whatever's getting you through the day, and let's dive in. Now, here's the myth that we've all been sold. If you just repeat positive statements enough times, your brain will believe them and your life will magically transform. Statements like, I am a money magnet, abundance flows to me effortlessly, or I am worthy of all good things. And listen, I'm not shitting on affirmations. They absolutely have value. But what nobody is telling you is that when you're broke as hell, stressed out of your mind, and barely keeping it together, your brain hears, I'm a money magnet, and immediately goes, bitch, where? Your subconscious is like a toddler with a truth detector. It knows when you're lying. So you're standing there trying to convince yourself that you're abundant while your bank account is as empty as a Cracker Barrel after their rebrand. And your brain is just not buying it. But here's the deeper issue. You are not a vibrational match for what you're trying to manifest. Your head is saying one thing, but your heart, your nervous system, your body, your energy is saying something completely different. There's no coherence, no alignment. And without alignment, you're basically just shouting affirmations into a void. The myth is that passive repetition is enough, and that if you just say the words, the universe will deliver. But your brain doesn't work on hopes and vibes alone, it works on evidence. And if you're not actively looking for evidence, you're just talking to yourself in the mirror. But here's the truth, the bliss, the thing that is going to change everything. Your brain is constantly scanning for proof of what you believe. And the fastest way to redirect that scan? Ask it a better fucking question. Instead of telling your brain, I am lucky, which it might argue with, you ask, why am I so lucky? Because your brain doesn't like unanswered questions. It's like an overachiever on a mission. The moment you ask, why am I so lucky? Your brain goes, oh shit, good question. Let me find evidence. And then suddenly you're starting to notice the parking spot that opens up right when you need it, the friend that texts you exactly when you need to hear from someone, or maybe some sort of unexpected windfall. And it's not that these things weren't happening before, it's that your brain wasn't looking for them. You were too busy asking yourself, why am I always broke? Or why does nothing ever work out for me? And guess what your brain did? It found evidence for that instead. Questions are directive. They tell your brain what to search for. And when you ask empowering questions, your brain becomes a heat-seeking missile for proof that you are right. But here's where it gets really good. Once you start noticing the evidence, once your brain starts collecting proof that you are lucky, that things do work out for you, that money does flow to you, those affirmations you were struggling with, they start to feel true. And when they feel true, something shifts. Your head and your heart finally get on the same page. That's called heart-brain coherence. When your thoughts and your feelings are aligned, when what you're saying and what you're embodying match up. And that's when you become a vibrational match for what you're trying to manifest. See, affirmations alone don't work because you're trying to convince yourself of something your nervous system doesn't believe yet. But questions, they gather evidence, and evidence creates belief. And that belief creates coherence. And coherence, that's what actually shifts your energy, your vibration, your frequency, whatever you want to call it. This is the missing piece. Questions prime your RAS to notice the proof, and that proof builds genuine belief. And then the belief creates alignment between your head and your heart. And that alignment is what makes you magnetic to what you desire. But I'd like to get a little nerdy here for a second, because this isn't just a woo-woo manifestation talk. This is actual neuroscience and energetics at work. The Reticular Activating System, RAS, is a network of neurons in your brainstem that acts like a filter. Every second, your brain is bombarded with millions of bits of sensory info: sights, sounds, smells, feelings. Your RAS decides what goes through to your conscious awareness and what gets ignored. And here's the kicker: your RAS is programmed by what you focus on and what you believe is important. Have you ever bought a new car and suddenly you see that exact model everywhere? That's your RAS at work. The car was always there, you just weren't noticing it because it wasn't relevant yet. Now, here's where questions come in. Research in cognitive psychology shows that questions create what's called an open loop in your brain, and your brain hates open loops. It wants answers and closure. So when you ask yourself a question, your brain immediately goes into search mode. There's a phenomenon called instinctive elaboration. When you're presented with a question, your brain automatically starts searching for answers, even subconsciously. It will continue working on that question in the background, even when you're not actively thinking about it. But here's the difference between questions and statements. Statements can be argued with, and questions demand answers. When you say, I'm confident, your inner critic can pipe up and say, no, you're not. Don't you remember how you embarrassed yourself last week or last month? But when you ask, why am I so confident? Your brain has to search for examples. It has to find proof. And once it starts looking, it finds it. And this is also tied to something called confirmation bias. We naturally look for evidence that already supports what we believe. So if you're asking disempowering questions like, why am I always broke? Your brain will find every piece of evidence to confirm that belief. But flip it around. Ask, how does money flow to me so effortlessly? And your brain starts scanning for every instance where money showed up with ease: that freelance gig, that gift, or that unexpected opportunity. You're not creating a new reality. You're training your brain to see the reality that's already there. Now, I want to talk about heart brain coherence, because this is where science meets energetics. And honestly, this is where shit gets really fascinating. The HeartMath Institute has done extensive research on this, and here's what they found. Your heart generates an electromagnetic field that is actually 60 times stronger than your brain's electrical field, and about 5,000 times stronger magnetically. We're not talking metaphorically here. Your heart literally radiates energy that can be measured several feet outside your body. And your heart isn't just pumping blood, it's sending signals to your brain. In fact, your heart sends more information to your brain than your brain sends to your heart. Your heart even has its own nervous system, about 40,000 neurons, which is why some scientists call it the heart brain. So when we talk about heart brain coherence, we're talking about when these two powerhouses sync up. When your heart rhythm becomes smooth and ordered instead of erratic and chaotic, it sends signals to your brain that literally change how you process information, how you feel, and how you show up energetically. And here's what happens in your body when you're in coherence. Your nervous system shifts from stress mode, sympathetic, to rest and digest mode, parasympathetic. Your cortisol drops, your DHEA increases, your immune function improves, your mental clarity sharpens, and yeah, your electromagnetic field changes. When you're saying affirmations, feeling doubt, fear, or lack, your heart rhythm is all over the place. It's chaotic. Your heart and brain are out of sync, sending contradictory signals. You're literally in a state of incoherence. Your nervous system picks up on this incongruence, and so does everything around you. You're not a vibrational match for what you're trying to call in because there's no resonance, no alignment. You're energetically janky. But when you use these questions to gather evidence, something shifts. You start noticing the ways you're already lucky, already supported, already abundant. And when you notice it, you start to feel it, not fake feelings, real ones: gratitude, relief, excitement, hope. And those emotions, they create heart rhythm coherence. When you feel genuine appreciation, genuine gratitude, genuine joy, your heart rhythm smooths out. It becomes ordered, and your brain syncs up with it. That's coherence. And in that coherent state, those affirmations that felt like lies before, they start to feel true because now you have evidence. Now your nervous system believes it. Now your heart and head are speaking the same language. You're not just thinking the thought, you're embodying the frequency of it. That's when you become a vibrational match. Not because you force yourself to believe something, but because you trained your brain to see the proof that was already there. And that proof shifted your emotions. And those emotions created coherence. And the coherence changed your energetic signal from the inside out. You're not just changing your mind, you're changing your frequency. And that frequency is what the universe responds to. So, how do we actually do this? How do we reprogram our RIS, create coherence, and become a vibrational match for what we want? First, get honest about what you're already asking yourself on repeat. Most of us don't realize we're walking around with a soundtrack of shitty questions running in the background. Why is it so hard? Why can I never catch a break? Why am I not good enough? Write them down, get them out of your head on paper so you can see what you're actually programming your brain to look for. And then take those disempowering questions and flip them into empowering ones. The structure is very simple. Just assume the positive outcome is already true and ask why or how. Instead of asking, why am I always broke? You ask, why am I so good at attracting money? Instead of, why is everything so hard? You'd ask, why do things always work out for me? Or instead of, why am I not good enough? You're going to ask, why am I more than enough already? And this isn't about fake it till you make it energy. You don't have to believe the answer yet. You just have to ask the question with genuine curiosity, like you're actually interested in discovering the answer, and your brain will do the rest. And then you're going to notice the evidence. So as your RAS starts scanning for answers, pay attention. When something goes right, when something flows easily, or when you catch a lucky break, pause and acknowledge it. Say, see, that's why I'm so lucky. This reinforces the loop. You're training your brain that this is what we're looking for now. And here's where the magic really happens. As you notice more evidence, your nervous system starts to relax into the truth of it. You're not forcing belief, you're building it with proof, and proof creates coherence between what you're thinking and what you're feeling. And once you've gathered that evidence, once your brain has found proof, now you bring in the affirmations. Now is when you say, I am a money magnet, and your heart won't call bullshit on it. It goes, yeah, you are. Remember that opportunity last week? Remember that unexpected income? The affirmations become a celebration of what's already true, not a desperate attempt to convince yourself of something that feels like a lie. When your head and heart are aligned like that, when you're affirming something you genuinely believe because you've seen the evidence, that's when you're a vibrational match. That's when you're magnetic. So before you go to bed every evening, ask yourself 3 to 5 empowering questions. This preps your brain for the next day. In the following morning, ask yourself the same questions. You can write them down, say them out loud, or just think them. Doesn't matter, just ask. Why am I so supported? How does opportunity find me so easily? Why do I always know the next right step? Your brain will get to work immediately. And as the evidence stacks up, your affirmations will start to land differently, and they'll feel true because they are. Now, before we get into your challenge for the week, I want to leave you with a blessing, because here's the thing. When you start asking better questions and when you start reprogramming your RAS, you're not just changing what you notice. You're stepping into a version of yourself that's more aligned, more awake, and more connected to what's already inside of you. And that takes courage. That takes trust. So wherever you are right now, whatever questions you're about to start asking yourself, I just want you to receive this. May you speak your truth with assertiveness, grace, and courage. May you be deeply rooted in the wisdom of your ancestors, guides, and angels. May you clearly see the path before you, and as new challenges arise, may you learn all lessons through love and compassion. May you be intuitively connected to your higher self, and may it pull you forward in times of question. And may you be divinely connected to the infinite, universal energy of all that is love. May it protect and strengthen you and bring you immense love, abundance, and joy. Now just take a breath and let that settle in. Okay, now it is time to put this into action because look, blessings are beautiful, but they mean jack shit if you're not willing to do the work. You can receive all the divine energy in the world, but if you're still asking yourself the same tired, defeating questions every morning, nothing's going to change. So here's what we're going to do. Here's your challenge for this week. Choose 3 empowering questions that directly counter your most common negative thought patterns. Write them down. Put them on a sticky note in your bathroom mirror. Set them as reminders on your phone. Make them your lock screen. I don't care. Just make sure you see them every single day. And every time you ask yourself one of these questions, I want you to pause for just 5 seconds and let your brain start looking for answers. Don't force it. Just ask and release. At the end of the week, I want you to notice, and I mean really notice, how many small pieces of evidence your brain found to support these new questions, because I promise you, it will blow your damn mind. Listen, You've been asking yourself questions your whole life. You've been directing your RAS whether you knew it or not. The only difference now is that you're doing it intentionally. You're choosing the search terms for your own brain, and that, my friend, is where the magic happens. Stop trying to convince yourself of something you don't believe yet. Start asking your brain to show you the proof that's already true. Your RAS is listening. Make sure you're asking it the right damn questions. I want to thank you so much for hanging out with me today on the Bliss and Mischief podcast. If this episode hit home, share it with someone who needs to hear it. And as always, remember, you're not broken. You're not behind. You're just asking yourself the wrong questions. So until next time, stay blissful, stay mischievous, and keep asking better questions.